Hi, I'm Andre. I'm Comrades green number 54978, and in this video I want to talk about the new two-wave start at the Comrades Marathon. I want to give my thoughts and my opinion and how I think it will work. So when the CMA announced that there will be a two-wave start at the Comrades Marathon, at first I was horrified. I was so concerned about losing all the traditions at the start. I was concerned about cut-off points. I was concerned about the chaos with pacing buses. I was concerned about congestion and confusion with the handing out of medals at the finish line. And then very concerned about that final 12-hour gun. Later, I was also concerned about what about record breakers, people going to get podium finishers, fast runners in the second wave that might overtake the first wave, and all that created a lot of confusion, and I was concerned. So luckily 2 or 3 days later, the CMA gave out an article with a lot more detail. Not everything yet, but they've explained a lot of the rationale behind their decision making. Now I've got a lot of faith in the people hosting the 2025 Comrades Marathon. It's a great team, a lot of experience, and I want to be excited of what they're planning and let you give me some of my thoughts then on what I think of the new two-wave system. So first of all, the CMA explained the rationale, as most of it's got to do with runner safety, and I've always been one for safety. If this can make the race safer, then I don't vote against it. There's always a lot of congestion at the start, especially with the down run. And we had some chaotic starts where runners were climbing over the fences, runners were cheating their way into faster batches. And hopefully with this new system, it can alleviate a lot of those problems. So what's going to happen is about 5:45, the first wave going to start. Then 15 minutes later only, the second wave going to start. And both of them, it will be gun to mat. But the second wave, their gun time will be the start of the second wave. So there will be some sort of a gap between the front wave and the second wave, and only later in the race, runners from the second wave will start catching up with the back runners from the first wave. So it will be much easier to get out of Pietermaritzburg on the down run. They say there's going to be more space if the services of an ambulance or paramedics is needed, and I agree with that. It can be very congested, probably the first at least 12 kilometers of the Comrades Marathon. Now roughly what will happen is the traditional batches A, B, C, D will start in the first batch or first wave, and then seedings E, F, G, H will start in the second wave. I'm still concerned that the CMA say they might adjust some of these batches to try to balance the first and second wave better. I think they need to set that long before people qualify, so that people know where they are. If I want to be in wave 1, I need to know what's the criteria to be in wave 1. If I want to be at the front of wave 2, that's the criteria. I don't like where it's almost random where you're going to be. I want to be in control of where I start, and I can't do that if they're only going to make the decision later in May, when I can't change my qualifying time again. I know a lot of runners that when they do marathons, a big goal of them is to improve their seeding. So if you've got already have an H seeding, there's a lot of runners that try so hard to get a G seeding or an F seeding. There's a lot of runners, me included, that try so hard to get a 4-hour or a sub 4-hour marathon for that beautiful D seeding at Comrades. And even though the scientists will explain that extra 2 minutes that you might win at the start is not worth the extra stress you put on your body and the extra recovery time you take. But for me, that doesn't always matter. For me, what matters is I set my goals and I would like to achieve it. And then I'll be very disappointed if somehow they change the seeding and suddenly I don't have my D anymore. I now need to have an E or an F or a G. Or you've got an H, you've tried so hard, you got your G, and then suddenly, because of the new batches, you're stuck at a H again. So I wish they can get that part a little bit better. Now, if you're somebody that say the two-wave system is not a good idea, my question to you would be, what is the alternative? Now, I thought about alternatives. The one would be to start two groups at exactly the same time. Maybe they can do an L shape so that people start at the city hall running the traditional route, and the next group close to the city hall going to one of the side streets before they turn away, so that all the Comrades runners are together at the start, going through the whole start sequence. When the gun goes off for everybody, one group will run in a southerly direction, one group run in a westerly direction, or easterly direction, or something like that at the start. One thing I thought could really work is one group, the front wave, run the traditional Comrades route all the way out of Maritzburg down Polish Shorts, and the other group run and do a little loop and get onto the N3 and then stay on the N3, and both of these two groups merge around Umlaas Road intersection, which is about 20 kilometers in. The congestion should be better at that point, so it might be possible to use somewhere there as a merge point. But to do this, it will be 4, 5, maybe 6 hours they need to block off the N3, which might be very difficult to do. If they start two waves at the same time and they want both groups to go down Polish Shorts, there will be a lot of problems wherever you merge, because that last bit of CB Downs Road and then going down Polish Shorts, the road is too narrow to accommodate two groups merging at that point. You need the merge point after Ashburton, maybe at Linfield Park, somewhere there to Umlaas Road on the down run. And I couldn't find a better way except using the N3, but the N3 will probably not be available because it's too long. They have to close the southern bound road, which takes a lot of traffic all the way from Johannesburg down to Durban. Another alternative would be to limit the number of entries. But if that's a good idea, my challenge to you is, how do you do that fairly? Some races where there's a lot of demand for a limited number of entries, some like Two Oceans, the Sani Stagger race, the Skukuza Half Marathon and the Kruger National Park, they all use different ideas. Some of them, they use a lotto system. You enter with a small fee and then they randomly draw some runners, and then only you pay your full fee to enter the race. That's a good idea, but I want to be in control. I want to be able to get in without relying on some random algorithm or the drawing of a number from a hat to get into the race. Another option is to go first come first serve, but if you do that, then you disadvantage people that don't have good access to internet. There's a lot of runners in my club that don't know how to enter Comrades. They come to the club when it's time trial or when we have one of our club runs, and then somebody there with a laptop will assist them to enter. And all these runners you will exclude if it's first come first serve with limited number of entries. Another way they can do it is increase the fee to enter Comrades. If they double the fee, then the numbers will come down drastically. But now you disadvantage poor people, which is unfair. Something I thought is a better idea to limit the field is to make the qualification time more tougher. If they decide you need a 4.5 or 4 hour 40-minute marathon time to be able to enter Comrades, that will limit the field. But now you disadvantage people that cannot run fast. I know a lot of people that the fastest they can run is about 7 minutes per kilometer. They struggle to qualify under 5 hours, but at Comrades they do very well. They run most of it with very little walk breaks because they can maintain that about 7 minutes a kilometer over 90 kilometers. And all these people will then be excluded. There's a lot of the green numbers that start getting older and older that can have very struggle to run 4.5 hours, and all of them will then be excluded. So how else can you accommodate more people at Comrades? And using this wave system is then probably the best idea going forward. I was a bit unhappy when they announced the race now going to start 15 minutes later. I thought they could do with the normal 5:30 in the morning start. One of the reasons they give there is it's too dark, especially going down Polly Shorts before the sun comes up. I think there's a lot of options to brighten up Polly Shorts. You can do kilometers of artificial lighting for less than R1 million. And the Comrades recently made a couple of R1 million profit in the race, and I'm sure they could have invested that. Maybe they could have gone into partnership with Pietermaritzburg municipality and say, help us, we help you, and we street lighted, permanent street lights that whole area, all the way from the end of CB Downs Road to Ashburton, for example. I'm sure that could have been an option. They could investigate it. Maybe there's not enough time to do it this year. Maybe in future they can look at that. Bring the time back to a 5:30 start. The second wave then 5:45, and maybe even if the race get bigger, then have a group starting at 6 in the morning. Now for my concern about cut-off points and medals, pacing buses, I think the CMA got all that. They thought about it. They've got it under control. Something on your race number going to indicate if you wave 1 or wave 2. So my comments regarding the cut-off points on the route. This year they're going to calculate it more scientifically, and they're going to make it, if you just make that cut-off point, that it's almost impossible for you to still have a realistic chance to get your medal. So nobody will left behind because of a cut-off point. And these calculations they're going to do as if you're a wave 2 runner. I think they'll probably take, you need less than you need to run at a speed faster than 5 minutes per kilometer from that cut-off point to make it. And they're not going to use cut-off points to penalize runners and say you now cut off, even though you might still have a chance. No, if you get cut off, there's not a realistic chance for you to make it. My concern about the medals at the end, it looks like they've got it in hand. There's going to be separate areas at the finish line where wave 1 go to the one side, wave 2 will go to the other side, and they'll also check your race number to make sure you're in the right pen, and then get the appropriate medal for the time that your wave ran. Then for the final cut-off, it sounds like there will be 2 guns for the final cut-off, one for wave 1 and one for wave 2. The seeding buses, I haven't seen anything on that yet. I'm a little bit concerned with the 11-hour bus. There will be a lot of people both in wave 1 and wave 2 that will go for 11-hour Comrades. And if you're in the 11-hour bus and you're from wave 1, but the bus driver is from wave 2, of course you're going to be 15 minutes, you could be 15 minutes out at the end. So I hope the bus drivers will indicate in what wave they start, and then you need to do your calculation, subtract or add 15 minutes depending on if you started in wave 1, wave 2 versus what the pace setter ran in. So I'm sure they've got that in hand. So I'm not concerned anymore. I'm looking forward to a great Comrades. I want to give this 2-wave system a real go. I think it can work. Now just lastly, where would I like to start? I'm almost in the middle of the field, so I might be at the back of wave 1 or I might be in the front of wave 2. And I'm beginning to think my best chance at Comrades would be to start at the back of wave 1. And the reason being is, first of all, it's going to be frustrating for me standing there and waiting and see other runners running already. I'm not going to like that extra 15-minute wait. And my biggest concern is if I'm at the front of wave 2, so maybe E is the front of wave 2, I'm going to be concerned that I'm going to start too fast. Comrades is exciting, the start is electrifying, you've done a lot of hard training, then you taper, you're so ready to run. And if you're at the front of wave 2, there's going to be a lot of pressure behind you for people want to overtake you, getting past. I think you're going to start too fast and you're going to blow in the first half and have a terrible second half. And it's going to be so important if you're in the second wave at the front to really hold back that first 20 kilometers. I'm concerned I'm going to go too fast and I'll blow it. So I want to start at the back of wave 2. It's going to be maybe 2-3 minutes before I cross the start line, maybe 4-5 minutes, not sure. But I'm going to start very slowly. It will force me to start slowly, but very soon the field will spread out and I'm going to run a very nice race. I've been in D-seeding before where 8-seeders get crowded around me too soon in the race, and now I'll have a few minutes, maybe 10-11 minutes gap between the second wave. So maybe at least 2-3 kilometers I will run without them crowding around me. I can start slowly, I can run a good pace. I think it's going to work, but I want to be at the back of the first wave. I hope this helps. If you've got other ideas or other concerns, please put them in the comments and I'll try to answer and give more opinions and more thought about that. I hope it's going to work. I hope it's going to be a great race. I hope to see you on the route. All the best with your training. Have a good run.